Hi, I'm Dr. Jason J. Campbell, and in this video I'm going to discuss program evaluation. I'm going to address what I feel are the 10 key concepts in a discussion on program evaluation. I'm hopefully going to, by the end of this video, make it clearer what exactly program evaluators do, how they go about assessing problems and offering solutions and outcomes. And to be honest with you, program evaluation is a growing field. If you're in it for the money, there's quite a bit of money to be made in program evaluation if you're good at it. And hopefully I'll be able to sort of educate you all on what it is that program evaluation is and what it is that program evaluators do. Okay, so this is program evaluation. Okay, so what we're going to talk about are what I consider the 10 key concepts. The 10 key concepts. And I wrote them down on the sheet of paper so I wouldn't forget, and then I'll put the paper down and I'll go through an explanation of it all. But I'll keep these 10 key concepts on the board throughout the discussion. And this, of course, is in no particular order. All right, so the first concept that's key is what's known as efficiency. The second one is assessment. The third is impact. The fourth is effectiveness. The fifth is observation. Number 6 is outcomes. Number 7 is workflow. Number 8 is processes. Number 9 is what's known as top-down. And then lastly, number 10 is bottom-up. Okay. All right, so again, this is a lecture on program evaluation, and what I'm going to do in this lecture is I'm going to go through one at a time these 10 concepts. There are many more concepts that pertain to an analysis of program evaluation. I'm not going to get into all of those concepts in this discussion. This is more of an overview and introduction into the concepts of program evaluation, what it is that program evaluation is, what it is that program evaluators do, and here are the concepts. The first one, efficiency, assessment, impact, effectiveness, observation, outcomes, workflow, processes, top-down, and bottom-up. All right, I'm going to begin, let's begin with observation. So once I discuss it, I'll check it off to make sure that we discuss it. So the first thing we'll start with is observation. Okay, in effective program evaluation, as a program evaluator, the question is, what is it that program evaluators typically do? Well, a program evaluator will most likely be contracted by a corporation, right? So the corporation is having problems, and the corporation can't figure out, for example, why their profit margins for the last 3 quarters have decreased when typically their profit margins have been increasing. So they hire a program evaluator, this is just one example, and make an assessment of what it is they feel might be contributing to the problem in their program, right, in their business model. Program evaluators make assessments on businesses, they make assessments on college curriculum, they make assessment in organizations, and so on. Anything that can be analyzed, anything that can be assessed is grounds for effective program evaluation. With respect to observation, the reason why I decided to start a discussion on observation is that in observing any system, the first thing that the program evaluator should ask, so with respect to observation, the first thing that a program evaluator should ask in observing this new system, this new company, this new organization, is there a hierarchy? Is there a hierarchy? And typically 9 out of 10, if not 10 out of 10 times, I'd have to think of a system that doesn't have a hierarchy. There almost always will be a hierarchy, right? And by hierarchy, what do we mean? Well, a hierarchy is a structure that has been established by a business or a corporation wherein subordinate members answer to less subordinate members and so on until we arrive at the top, right? The president or the CEO, right? So you might have something like this. You might have, this would be the CEO, and the CEO, directly on the CEO might be subordinate members 1, subordinate members 1, and under them might be more subordinate members and so on, right? And so on. Okay, so you can imagine, for the sake of argument, that we have a CEO, and the CEO has, and in an example that I used in one of my classes, we'll say we have the engineering firm, right? We have the engineers, but we also have the sales team, right? So we have the engineers, and we have, and actually, let's just make the sales team on par with the engineers. Okay, and so on and so on. So you've been contracted, for the sake of argument, by the CEO for a motor sports company. And the CEO gives you the following scenario. The CEO says, well, there's a conflict between the engineers and the salespeople, right, in my company. They're having a problem. And here's what the problem is. The salespeople, based on the demands that customers are having, are overselling their products, right? They're telling the consumer, listen, we can have that new modified engine that will increase your horsepower, so do business with us. And of course the customer loves this, so they give them their business, only to find out that when they go back to the engineers are like, why did you tell them that we can do that? Because our cars don't currently have the capability. And what you're doing now is you're putting pressure on the engineering team to be able to create that structural ability so that we can sell these products, right? So you can see, this is just an example, but you can see that there would be tension in one company between, let's say, the engineer team and the sales team, right? And this might be one of the reasons why the profit margins are down, because the engineers feel that they're being pressured from the sales team who are overselling, and they're upset. So the sales team is upset with the engineers because the engineers aren't satisfying the demands of the customer, and the engineers are upset with the sales team because the sales team are promising things that they don't have the ability, the salespeople don't have the ability to create, to produce. So here's the tension. So the CEO gets upset, and he or she says, hey, we want to hire you, program evaluator X, come in, help me out, let me know what's wrong with my company. Do an assessment, give me your suggestions so that I can make this better. That's program evaluation at its most basic core. Observation, what we're doing is we're asking, is there a hierarchy? If there is a hierarchy, then I've established this, right? In my notes, what I've done is, okay, there's a board, and that board answers to the CEO, and the engineer answers to the board, and some other group answers to these guys. So what I've done in the first process is I've observed the structure of the corporation, or I've observed the structure of the university or the curriculum or whatever it is that I'm doing an evaluation of. The most important thing, the essential thing to do, is to make a solid observation. The first aspect that I would say to do with respect to observation is to ask whether there is a hierarchy or not. If there is a hierarchy, then map out the hierarchy. And I would literally map out the hierarchy so that you have an assessment. You can make a visual representation of who answers to whom.